You know, back when I was a newbie in GTA Online, at least until the DNS code glitch, we didn't know that numbers could go as high as $1 billion. And back then, anybody who didn't get banned with that DNS money was basically a god. But this was before the apocalyptic era of GTA inflation, as well as flying missile bikes. Nowadays, you'd be lucky to find a supercar whose price tag doesn't start with the number 3. And with Rockstar nerfing all the heists, it almost seems like they're priming their player base for GTA 6 Online, which could be dropping as early as this December, a mere month after the story mode. So is it even worth grinding to $100 million in modern GTA Online? Absolutely, because this is still a very important amount of money. With $100 million to your name, you can absolutely own every single business in GTA Online that is worth buying, and you can upgrade them to the max. Plus, you can also buy a bunch of service vehicles, weaponized vehicles, and even a few supercars for when you want to have some good old-fashioned fun. Is it as awesome as it used to be? No, but $100 million is still $100 million, and in today's video, I will show you exactly how to get there in the fastest way possible. And the fastest way possible can vary from player to player, depending on how much time you're willing to put into this game during the next 4 months, and how much of a starting base you already have. So let's talk a bit about how long this challenge will take you, assuming that you're starting from scratch. In my estimations, if you play 3 to 4 hours per day in the first few weeks and then scale back down to about 2 hours a day, it shouldn't take you more than 60 days or 2 months to get to that $100 million. This is with all the meta businesses and heists. If you just want to goof around and have fun, it's obviously going to take a lot longer, but 2 months, maybe 3 maximum, is a very reasonable target for most players to hit $100 million, and the key here is having a plan, because how you spend your early cash and what you spend it on is way more important than you think. And while I can't teach you all the various speedrunning tips for all the heists in just one 15-minute video, I can, however, tell you what to buy and why. My goal with this video is to give you the most efficient money grind possible, so that way you'll automatically steer towards the good content on your own once you got a taste of what it feels like. So with that in mind, let's actually talk about the prerequisites for this money grind, because you're going to need a few things before you start making big money in this game, namely weapons and vehicles. Starting with weapons, as a level 1 player, you don't have a lot of cash, but that's fine because Mark 1 weapons are pretty cheap and you can do this entire $100 million run without spending a single cent on Mark 2 weapon upgrades. You'll mainly be grinding PvE content, so you don't have to worry about outplaying other human players. As for what weapons you should buy, there are really only 5 that you need: a special carbine, an AP pistol, an assault shotgun, a combat MG, and a heavy sniper. Then for some extra punch against vehicles, you can also invest in a homing launcher. The RPG does way more damage versus armored vehicles, but you won't unlock it until much later anyways, and for $75,000, the homing launcher is an excellent way to take down enemy helicopters, as well as those perma-respawning NPC cars that chase you around every time you try to do a prep mission for a heist. Now, speaking of chases, you're also going to need an armored vehicle to soak up all that incoming gunfire, because NPCs literally teleport into existence out of thin air in this game, and they also have aimbot-like precision, so you won't be able to outrun an army of mercenaries or gang members in a non-armored vehicle. At least not for long, because your tires and windows will be shredded to bits while you're still fumbling around with the weapon wheel, which is why I recommend the Duke of Death as your primary vehicle for heists and missions, at least in the early stage before you get your hands on a Mark II or Vigilante, of course. The Duke is one of the best early stage armored cars in this game, beating out even the armored Kuruma in PvP free roam, because it can tank an extra RPG and homing missile shot, while the Kuruma is extremely weak to explosive damage. Will you be doing a whole lot of PvP at this stage? No, but it's still nice to have as an option for week 3 or 4 when you finally start getting into public lobbies. And the cool thing about the Duke is that when you have an agency with the Amani Tech Workshop, you can even outfit this vehicle with a missile lock-on jammer and turn it into a super solid defensive option versus Mark II and Deluxo Griefers. Plus, the Duke looks a whole lot better and goes faster in a straight line compared to the armored Kuruma, but more importantly, the Duke is free. The Kuruma costs just under 700 grand, and as a new player, you can't afford to be wasting that kind of cash on a car unless you have the career builder on a new account, and that feature is exclusive to expanded and enhanced players. So for everyone else, just open up Warstock Cash and Carry, scroll down until you find the Duke of Death, and click that buy button. It'll carry you through the first half of your $100 million playthrough, and it will tank anything that NPCs throw at it, as long as they aren't shooting at the driver's side windshield, because that has a giant gaping hole in it. Next, we've actually got some more free stuff to grab, because Rockstar Rockstar includes a package called the Criminal Enterprises Starter Pack with every copy of GTA 5, at least on the PC platform, where the Premium Edition is pretty much the default version and has been for several years. So if you're a PC player and you boot up the game and load into online for the first time, you'll receive an email from Rockstar containing all the details of your free goodies, and it's honestly pretty good. You get properties, vehicles, weapons. Here's a list of all the items. You can pause and read through it if you want, but the ones that are most relevant to our grind here are the Mazebank West Executive Office, Great Chaparral Biker Clubhouse, and Grand Sonora Desert Counterfeit Cash Factory. The MC Clubhouse and Counterfeit Cash Factory are located near each other, so you won't have any issue traveling between them. You also need to own an MC Club and be an MC President in order to access MC businesses like the Counterfeit Cash Factory, the Coca-Cola Lockup, the Math Lab, etc. So it's really nice that Rockstar is giving you one for free here. By the way, I know that free Polito Forest gun running bunker looks really enticing right now, but take my advice, just ignore it. And when it's time to buy a bunker, grab the one in Chumash instead for $1.6 million, because once you redeem your free bunker card in Polito, you'll also have to sink about $2 million of your own cash into the staff and equipment and security upgrades to make it as viable as a money-making source as possible. And when you get sick of those awful sell missions and switch to a better location later, you're going to lose all those upgrades during the transfer, so it's best to just avoid this freebie for now. Grab the MC Clubhouse in Grand Sonora, the Cash Factory, the Mazebank West CEO office, as well as your free Criminal Enterprise vehicles, but I'd just ignore the Polito Forest bunker. It's not really worth the hassle investing in currently, trust me on that. Alright, now for the final piece of prep work, I want to make sure that you're in an invite-only lobby, at least for the first few weeks. This way, you'll be able to acclimate yourself to the mechanics of GTA Online. You can explore the map without being griefed by other players. There are times when you want to be in a public lobby, like if you're trying to score the high demand bonus on certain cell missions, but it's so much more reliable to be in a private session because there's nobody to mess with your grinding routine, and you can plan everything you're doing according to your own schedule and then execute perfectly on that plan because there won't be any disruptions from other players. With all that legwork done, it's finally time to get to the main course of this video, which is the actual money making. And so for this, you need to invest in businesses as well as certain properties and service vehicles that open up heists, because heists will be your primary way of making money really fast in GTA Online. You're obviously going to augment these heists with businesses, and that's an essential part of grinding money efficiently in this game. We want to combine our active and passive grinds together ultimately, so while you're out there shooting bad guys and blowing stuff up and getting paid for that, your businesses are also going to be constantly generating cash for you in the background. Then once your heists go on cooldown, you can take that time to sell your businesses, and once that's done, your heists are back online, so you can simply just resupply and go do those once again. By the way, if you are genuinely a level 1 player watching this video, or just someone without a whole lot of cash, I would also recommend doing the daily activities like G's caches and stash house missions. You can also try out the junk energy skydives, the treasure hunts, the time trials. In fact, even the secret weapon treasure hunts for the Navy revolver, the double action revolver, and the stone hatchet. Just those 3 weapons by themselves will give you an easy $800,000 at the start if you also do the kill bonuses associated with them. But anyways, once you have your first $1 million and a special carbine and a Batty 801RR, it's time to do some big boy work here. And the very first real moneymaker that I recommend to new players is the Cluckin Bell Farm Raid. It costs absolutely nothing, and you can start this as early as rank 5 after receiving a call from the vigilante cop Vincent Effenberger. Just travel to this golden V icon on the map, watch the introductory cutscene, and help Vincent take down a drug cartel who are using the Cluckin Bell fast food chain to disguise their operations. Yes, it's inspired by Los Pollos Hermanos from Breaking Bad, but we aren't here to compare to TV references. We are actually here to make money, and if you want to make money fast in Cluckin Bell, you need a fast bike. Ideally the HSW Hakucho Drag, and you can get the base bike for $976,000 and then take it to house for a free HSW mod because your first HSW upgrade is always free. But let's say you don't have $1 million to spend on the bike, or you're not on enhanced. Well, in that case, just use the Batty 801RR. There's nothing better in the game at this price point, and it will still be more than fast enough to help you do the Cluckin Bell farm raid in well under an hour. Now, there are 3 things to keep in mind here if you want to speedrun this heist. First, you'll want to go with the Marabunta Grande loadout for your weapons, as well as the Marabunta Grande location for your getaway vehicle. So in both cases, option A. Then while doing the mission Disorganized Crime, you can actually teleport into the warehouses without tailing the van around the map, and this will normally take you 2 or 3 normal runs before the game lets you teleport into the warehouse, but once you've played your first few Cluckin Bells, just memorize the 3 warehouse locations and head there directly instead of tailing the vans around. Once you're inside, just make your way through the guards stealthily, use something like a silenced AP pistol, and only score headshots. Even if you get detected, you still have a 1-minute timer to clear out the CCTV footage and dispatch every single witness in the room. And this is super important because unless you do this mission in stealth, you'll have to face a few waves of perma respawning enemies in the finale, and it will slow down your completion time if you're a new player and you aren't that good at gunfights. You'll know that you're locked into stealth mode if you get this flatbed truck at the end of disorganized crime, but if you get a bunch of bad guys chasing after you, it means you've alerted the factory and they will start shooting at you as soon as you enter the place. In the finale, go about your businesses as usual, but during the getaway phase, instead of using the car that you stole from the Marabunta boys, follow the railway track over here to this shed and summon your personal vehicle. It's going to be a whole lot faster, and once you're past this bridge, you can head into the hills and lose the cops within a few seconds. Then you can drive back to Vincent's lockup for an easy $400,000. Or if it's your first Cluckin Bell of the week, you'll actually make 600 grand. And here's where I'm going to give you a little pro tip to double that weekly bonus. Simply create a second character, play another round of Cluckin Bell on that character, and you'll get $600,000 once again. You see, your alt character and your main character share the same bank account, but they don't share things like heist cooldowns or weekly completion bonuses. So if you want to do a heist back to back and get a second weekly bonus, just switch characters. Of course, since this is a different character, you'll also need the property if it's a heist that requires a property to be purchased first, but with Cluckin Bell, things are very simple because it's free and you can just create a second character and just do it a second time over there. Next, you're going to grab the best business in the game, which is the Acid Lab, and you'll also do the first dose as well as last dose missions for around $800,000 in cash rewards. At the end of last dose, the game will give you this free $3 million electric hypercar, the Ocelot Virtue, and it may not seem like it right now, but this is actually one of the strongest anti-griefer vehicles in all of GTA Online. Because once you take it into Amani's workshop at the agency and you install some armor plating and a lock-on jammer, it will transform into a machine that eats Suppressor Mark IIs for breakfast. Then you also have this, a free Brigade 6x6 that you also get after completing the 6th and final mission of the First Dose questline. Normally you pay $1.4 million in war stock for this, but by doing a few story missions for Dax, you're getting it essentially for free, and you can use that money you made from those story missions to install that $750,000 equipment in the back, and this unlocks the Acid Lab business, which is now the #1 solo grind in the entire game. But wait, before you start grinding acid, make sure to do 10 Fooligan jobs by calling up Dax on your phone whenever you're in free roam. These have a cooldown of 48 minutes between each mission, but you get paid $50,000 for each Fooligan job that you do, and by the end of it, you'll also unlock the Acid Lab equipment upgrade, which, you guessed it, is also practically free here since it costs 250 grand, and you've made double that amount from these Fooligan jobs that you need to do in order to unlock it in the first place. So install that equipment, resupply your Acid Lab by calling Mutt, and 4 hours later, sell a full bar of acid for $351,000. By the way, it's actually $335,000 technically with the upgraded equipment for a full bar of acid, but if you name your product from the interaction menu like this, you can actually increase the value of acid you're selling by a further 5%. So do that and sell your acid to make an easy $351,000 every day. Another business that you might want to grind alongside your Acid Lab is the bunker, and for this one, like I said earlier, go with the Chumash location. Buy that staff and equipment upgrade for approximately $1.7 million combined, and then grab yourself the personal quarters for a further $265,000. This way you can teleport into your bunker, resupply, or do one of their quick ammunition deliveries, and head back out into free roam to grind your heists. I always resupply once on an empty bunker, so I get exactly $210,000 worth of product in the long distance sell mission, and I combine my bunker timing with my Acid Lab, so after I'm done selling my bunker, my boosted Acid Lab is also ready to sell. If you didn't know already, the Acid Lab comes with a production speed boost in the back that takes the turnaround time for a full batch of acid product from 4 hours down to just 3, and you can also use this once a day, but if you do, its timings match up perfectly with the bunker, allowing you to do a quick 1-2 combo for $560,000, which goes up to 610 grand if you also include one ammunition delivery from your bunker as well. For our next business here, we're going to grab the nightclub, and I suggest getting either of the 2 Vinewood locations as they are by far the best. You're also going to need storage upgrades, staff and equipment, as well as 4 additional technicians if you want to make the most out of your nightclub. For this, I suggest saving up a bit of cash first, around $5 to $6 million before you decide to invest in a nightclub, because even though it is technically the best source of semi-passive income in the game, there's also a decently high upfront cost to this business, and you also need some additional businesses to actually make it viable to its utmost ability, like a hangar, Coca-Cola lockup, math lab, a cash factory, as well as a bunker. You should already have a bunker by now, so go ahead and purchase a hangar in Fort Zancudo. I recommend this one, number 3497 for $2.1 million. Then go ahead and buy your math lab in Grand Sonora Desert, as well as a Coca-Cola lockup near the Alamo Sea. These two businesses form a nice little triangle formation in combination with your free cash factory, and you've also got the Grand Sonora MC Clubhouse in the middle, so you can spawn in, take a ride to any of your 3 primary MC businesses, raise supply, sell, do whatever you want. And in your nightclub, assign your technicians to these 5 businesses in the warehouse section, and you can make an additional $1.8 million every 20 gameplay hours by selling a full warehouse of nightclub product, and this is in addition to the $50,000 you make every 48 minutes through your nightclub wall safe if you have max popularity. Alright, after you've completed all the Los Santos Drug Wars missions and have done a few Cluckin Bell farm raids, as well as a few bunker and acid lab cell missions, you should have $4 million in your account. At this point, you've got to make a choice on your next business. I recommend you either grab an agency or a Casaca submarine. Both are excellent picks early on, and no matter which one you choose, you'll have enough cash for a new business within a day. If you go with an agency, you get access to 4 different money-making methods: payphone hits, security contracts, the Dr. J VIP contract, and passive income from your office wall safe. You can earn up to $1.1 million for your first Dr. J VIP contract of the week, which takes around 1.5 to 2 hours for a first-time playthrough. But once you've nailed down the locations of enemies and key items and all that, it could be done in just over an hour in an invite-only session, provided you have a flying vehicle like the Oppressor Mark II or Sparrow. Subsequent playthroughs after the weekly completion bonus do give you $900,000 in the finale, which isn't as good as before, but it's still a lot of money for just over an hour of gameplay. Security contracts range and pay anywhere from $30,000 to $70,000 depending on their difficulty tier, and you can expect to do these within 10 minutes maximum. Payphone hits are also worth $45,000 if you fulfill the bonus objectives, and these can be done within 5 to 7 minutes, also at a very leisurely pace. Ideally, you want to cycle between payphone hits and security contracts while your Dr. Dre missions are on cooldown. Payphone hits have a cooldown of 10 minutes, while security contracts have a 5-minute cooldown, and both of them can be requested from the phone by calling up Franklin, so you don't need to be physically present at the agency in order to initiate work. Next, after doing a couple of Dr. Dre missions and some security contracts, you should have at least $4.2 million in your bank account, which is exactly how much the Casaca submarine costs, in combination with the Sparrow light attack helicopter. To initiate Cayo Perico, meet up with Miguel Madrazo in the music locker next to the Diamond Casino, and he will tell you to buy a submarine. Your new shipmate, Pavel, will then walk you through the heist prep process. If you go the stealth route, Cayo Perico can easily be done within an hour and pays 800 grand on average after the new nerfs. Is it as good as it once was? Absolutely not, but it's still one of the most lucrative money grinding methods in the entire game to this day, and is honestly easy to do early on even if you're a brand new player. All you need is $4.2 million, which, as I've already explained, can be done in no time with a few Cluckin Bell farm raids and Dr. Dre contracts. Even casual players should be able to buy their Casaca and Sparrow in their first week of playing GTA Online, so there's no reason to delay the purchase. Get it ASAP and start grinding those Cayo Perico heists. With Cayo Perico, the most efficient way to do it is choosing the longfin as your approach vehicle and the underwater drainage gate as your entry point. Once you've secured all the loot, you can simply hop over this wall and head for the exit. There's a dirt bike parked 100 yards in front of the compound main gate, and you can use it to ride off the nearby cliff. Then just keep swimming through the field of sea mines and you'll have escaped from the island. I've already done a beginner's guide on how to complete Cayo Perico and earn lots of money in the shortest amount of time, so definitely feel free to check that out after this video if you actually need help completing that heist. And for the next 2 heists I'm going to recommend actually is a combination of Oscar Guzman Flies Again and the No Way Out questline. Both of these can be done in under an hour. Oscar Guzman has an entry fee of $1.5 million, while No Way Out is free just like Cluckin Bell. However, No Way Out pays less, $683,000 on hard mode, and that's with the weekly bonus. Without it, you're down to $455,000, and by doing the elite challenge, you can get up to $555 grand, but that does require mastery of the finale. Whereas with Oscar Guzman, you get $750,000 guaranteed every single time in hard mode. There are no setup fees, unlike Cayo, and all you need for this one is a fast bike plus a few guns. And if you make your second character and buy that second Mackenzie Field hangar, you can grab that weekly bonus twice and make $2.2 million in just 2 hours from Oscar Guzman. And you can do it every week. Lastly, I actually suggest buying the Darnell Bros Garment Factory, which opens up FIB files and missions that pay $200,000 for the regular ones and $350,000 for the weekly special. You only get a roster of 4 missions, so I wouldn't suggest grinding these all the time, but the Garment Factory FIB files serve as a nice way to break up the time in between your Cayo, Perico, or Dr. Dre heists, for example. And if you buy a terabyte, you can actually upgrade it with a master control terminal at the Garment Factory. This is a huge boost to your grind routine, and I suggest getting the Darnell Bros Garment Factory for this reason alone, to be honest. And folks, if you purchase the businesses I listed in the order I mentioned here today, you should easily be able to grind $20 or $30 million within a few weeks. Make sure to grab the Sparrow helicopter for your Moonpool upgrade in the Kasaka to ease up the heist prep for Cayo Perico. I'd also suggest buying an Oppressor Mark II eventually, after your terabyte purchase, while also packing insane amounts of offensive capability. The businesses you should stay away from, in my opinion at least, are the Arena Workshop, the Document Forgery Office, and the Bail Office. I also don't really recommend wasting money on a facility or high-end apartment if you're a solo grinder, because nobody plays Doomsday or the OG heists anymore, despite the relative buffs that they received with the Court Center update. To close things off, I just want to say here that while making lots of money in this game is great, and it does let you buy a bunch of stuff, and that's kind of the point of playing the game, it can also trap you in this monotonous grind routine that could take all the enjoyment away from the game. So while our goal here with this guide is to of course make $100 million as fast as possible, you don't have to sacrifice content variety for it. I don't actually recommend that, because if you just grind Cayo Perico twice a day, 30 days in a row, sure, you're going to be filthy rich, but you'll also suck all the joy out of this game and miss out on some of the more interesting content that GTA Online has to offer. So please, go play other stuff. Play the Dr. Dre VIP contract, the security contract, do bunker sale missions, Garment Factory missions. The key here is to mix them all together so you have zero downtime between heists, but you also want to prioritize that high efficiency content that pays well for the small amount of time spent on it. It's a delicate balancing act between missions that are fun and also missions that pay well. So choose wisely and you will make lots and lots of money. That's all I have for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like on it if you guys found it informative and entertaining. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel if you are new and you want to see more guides and GTA Online content just like this. Check me out over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, specifically twitch.tv/hazardoushtv, and I will see you guys in the next one tomorrow. Adios, amigos.